Burning tires, tear gas, and unfortunate instances of violence. These scenes are common in Gaza once again, as Palestinian youths, including university graduates grappling with no job prospects, continue their protests. Their aim is to put pressure on Israel to scrap the blockade and express solidarity with Jerusalem and the West Bank. While there are significant risks, these young men say they are determined to continue.
By intensifying these efforts, we can compel the occupying forces to stop their regular assaults and dismantle the blockade on our people. Just as we've liberated certain facilities in the past, we'll continue to liberate more.
On September 15th, I suffered an injury resulting in the amputation of my finger. Nevertheless, I remain steadfast on my feet, committed to attending these protests until the blockade is lifted and we can enjoy a life just like any other people.
Young Palestinians still regularly gather here along the Gaza-Israel border to voice what they say are their rights and aspirations. However, one critical issue constantly looms behind these protests: Israel's response. That's generally to close crossings, restricting the movement of Palestinian laborers, and further worsening their already dire circumstances. In response to these protests, Israel closed the Beit Hanoun crossing on September 19th, the sole pedestrian passageway out of the territory into Israel. That's raised concerns among the 20,000 Palestinians that cross there every day to go to work in Israel.
The closure of Beit Hanoun crossing amounts to collective punishment imposed by the occupying forces on Gaza's workforce. Approximately 20,000 workers are denied daily access, resulting in daily losses exceeding $1.5 million. These workers have endured a 17-year-long blockade, facing extremely challenging conditions.
Protests in Gaza have escalated, with some resorting to improvised explosive devices and incendiary balloons. Experts say that Israel's response, which involves live ammunition and tear gas that can cause serious injuries, heightens the potential for a new confrontation.
In my assessment, the escalation of resistance tactics, including the use of methods such as incendiary balloons during the return marches, nighttime disturbances, and peaceful protests, all fall under a spectrum of resistance actions. If the current conditions persist, with the Beit Hanoun crossing closure and sustained violence in Jerusalem and West Bank, I foresee a potential shift towards a military confrontation.
Addressing the UN General Assembly earlier this week, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lauded the possibility of fully normalizing relations with Saudi Arabia, but warned that Palestinians shouldn't have veto power over any Arab-Israeli peace deals. A rapprochement could totally reshape the Middle East, but also risk sidelining Palestinians even further. So while protests like these in Gaza persist, their long-term impact appears increasingly limited. Nizar Sadawi, 30 World, Gaza.